Okay, very good. Now, another major objection I hear from a lot of people in the gold community who are hardcore physical metal is that, BitGold, all my gold might not be there. It might be fractional, where you guys don't keep all the gold that people say they put the money in, and you might only keep a partial amount of gold in the vault. What measures do you guys have in store that that all the money people put in to buy gold all the gold is there for all the cash that's been paid in all your vaults?
Exactly. No, and that's the most important question. And what we built is not a centralized reliance on us as a third party. What we built is a system of checks and balances. So when you purchase gold, through our platform, we are aligning the trade. But you're buying gold that's already been, the gold is already in Brinks. There's defined settlement terms for the bullion banks, and those quoting on our platform. It's got to be a certain standard. It's got to be assayed. It's got to be checked. It's got to be LBMA and COMEX, good delivery bullion. And so it's already gone through a number of checks and balances before it even enters a trade that's settleable. And once that happens, once you purchase the gold, we don't even, it's not even confirmed that it's your gold. It sits in a pending state on our account, just like a pending, from your bank account, a pending transaction sits in one column versus settled in another. It doesn't get confirmed until Brinks actually verifies that bar has been moved from, the bullion dealer's cage to our cage, and it's now segregated to be, the customer's gold. So you've already gone through a number of checks and balances before that even happens. And then even after the fact, our ledger every day is dropped for auditing. PricewaterhouseCoopers is our auditor. They will be auditing that the ledgers and records are all meeting. So there's checks and balances on the way in, and there's checks and balances ongoing. So while it's centralized with checks and balances, which I believe if you look at look at the history of banking and government and all of that, I find that is far superior than a purely centralized or purely decentralized system.
Yeah, and Eric Sprott, who's very big on the gold price manipulation, and he cares about allocated gold. So him being on board, I think that's a very big endorsement for you guys, because he has like his gold trust and his silver trust, and he really cares about allocated metal. So I don't think he would put his name or invest in you guys if he didn't expect the same type of standards from you guys. And the same goes for James Turk over at GoldMoney.
Absolutely. I mean, this is 100% a trust business, and particularly with, call it the first adopters, the people that understand gold, they understand the counterparty-free nature of gold, and so the first thing they want to do is make sure that those systems are in place. So absolutely, it's the most important thing. We are not an IOU. We are not a future. We are not a security. We are not an ETF. We're not a Bitcoin backed by gold. We're just simply software that allows you to purchase gold and transact with gold with the greatest liquidity given technology. So yeah, it was important to get not only Eric and James, who've been amazing and very, very important in us building credibility and getting our story out there, but all the banks that we're partnered with, Brinks, our bullion banks, our commercial banks. It's an unbelievable amount of explaining that we have to do over and over, and people checking our systems, and that's how we build up the credibility for this trust business.
Now, I want to ask you about U.S. citizens. I think about a week or two ago, you guys allowed U.S. citizens, I guess you got regulatory approval. I don't know how long it took you. I had friends who were actually telling me it would take you guys 10 years or you would never get regulatory approval from the U.S. government or agencies to get approval. But our U.S. citizens are now fully able to sign up and start transacting in gold. They can get a debit card in gold. They can go invoice in gold. They're allowed to do everything right now?
Everything except the peer-to-peer or the B2B, B2C payments. So right now, everything else on the platform will be available. except being able to send an email. Sending you gold right now. I wouldn't be able to do that. And for us, the important thing, as I mentioned earlier, we've, in the early days, frustratingly enough, we probably spent more money on the regulatory and legal side than we did on the technology. Both were extremely important, but Roy and I both have a very, very low risk tolerance, and the business in general will only succeed and only become scalable and only be relevant for millions of users if we do things right. We know we're in a very, very dynamic regulatory environment with money services, with banking. And so we just wanted to make sure we took our time and did things right, that we had enough conversations, that we felt comfortable, moving forward with any of the features that we're launching.
Very good. And you guys anticipate then in the near future that all of those options are going to be opened up to U.S. citizens then? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the goal. And the key thing from a regulatory standpoint is we're not dealing in currency, and so we at the end of the day we're selling a widget. We're selling.
Well, I view gold as money, but I guess the regulators don't, right?
Exactly. When I said that, I hope I don't offend anyone. That's not what I meant by it. But it's got monetary-like attributes, but we're not.
Yeah, it's what the government views it as. Yeah, it's a collectible. It's taxed in the United States, gold as a collectible. Yeah. Exactly.
So because we're not holding customer deposits, we're not fractionally reserving, we're not creating a security and a right for a third party to perform. We are essentially, it's just an internet commerce for a commodity. And so that's, it was very important to get, to make sure that regulators and banking partners and everyone kind of understand, the nature of that and what, things that we can and can't do without certain licenses. So we've always just been proceeding with a lot of caution and making sure we do it right, because we're building a long-term business.
Yeah, and you guys have vault locations in how many different countries so far?
So right now we have 6 vault locations. We're looking to open up another one, but our primary vaults are in Toronto, Zurich, London, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai. And we will be looking to open up a U.S. vault in the near future.
Now, we have a lot of silver bugs. A lot of people absolutely love silver on the show. They love silver more than gold, although they love both precious metals. Can we expect to see then in the near future maybe a BitSilver too, as well as a complementary type of company from you guys?
Yeah, so I don't think so, and here's why. I mean, I love silver too. I also love water. I love copper. There's a lot of commodities I love as an investment, as something I want to own, as something I want to use. But if you look at the difference between gold and silver in the context that we're using it, is with gold we can provide free storage because it is relatively cheap to store. Because of the density, because of the value, because of the systems for vaulting it, silver is much more expensive, and so there's it doesn't function the same way over the long term as gold. It's an excellent commodity. I have nothing against silver, and we clearly offer that through the GoldMoney platform. But to use it like currency, I think is a little bit different in this electronic context.
Yeah, well, maybe then if you guys could do BitSilver and people would be willing then to pay more money for storage fees, but I guess then they're not going to get the same type of deal they do with BitGold for the low prices they charge, because you guys do have a pretty amazing business. I think the regular bullion dealers, they charge an enormous type of commission, and it's not a high margin product to sell bullion, but you guys offer the consumers a pretty good deal, I think close to spot.
Absolutely, and that was really the goal. We said, what are the main inhibitors to buying gold? Is it the access? Is it because you need a brokerage account to buy it in an ETF, or you need to be near a center that actually sells bullion? And are people having really high spreads for carrying and moving around physical inventory in the form of jewelry or scrap gold? Anything that we can lower the barriers to entry and get it to the best price for the most amount of people. We thought one of the main things is, why should we pay a storage fee? So by taking away the storage fee and also trying to create the scale, we can offer the best prices. And that's, that just like all these internet businesses that are really trying to democratize access, that's the whole goal.
Very good. Well, I think you're onto something really good. I wish you the best of luck. I think you have a very interesting business model. I think it's really good. It's scalable. I think it's a really good concept for allowing, the regular guy on Main Street, Joe Sixpack, who maybe he didn't have the amount of money to go buy a 1-ounce gold coin or some gold bars. He can start a BitGold account and he can slowly accumulate physical gold, and he can store it, in multiple vault locations. And then if he wants, he can take delivery of it eventually then after he's saved a certain amount of money in gold.
Exactly, and I think that's this is probably one of the most important points that perhaps we we waited towards the end of the program here. But for me the important thing is giving someone access in an era of negative real interest rate policy everywhere. And we're getting to areas where there's actually nominally negative interest rate policy. It's not conspiracy; it's policy that they're devaluing currency. And when that, as you say, Joe Sixpack or XYZ, country, when that citizen doesn't have another choice to secure value, doesn't have access to a brokerage account, doesn't have access to a real estate market, or being able to have debt to buy that asset, that appreciates in an inflationary environment. The simplest thing that everyone understands around the world is gold. And so giving that access as some sort of choice without friction, the best technology, the best convenience, that really was the mission, is allow someone to not, always be, basically chasing asset inflation. They can keep their savings in a metal that is appreciated against every currency. Again, not because of conspiracy, but because of policy. And so that was really the mission.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, the policy is financial repression to knock the interest rates as low as possible so these governments and banks can continue to borrow near zero and speculate on higher assets like you're saying.
Yeah, and the person that doesn't have access, that's really just working the 9 to 5, doesn't have time to think, doesn't have time to speculate, doesn't even, likely can't even trust a lot of his investment advisors around him. This is a very simple personal gold standard. I believe, just in the math, really we're not on a mission to disrupt any central banks or implement a gold standard or anything like that. We just want to have a market response to negative interest rate policy, in that someone can very easily store, a commodity that will hold commodity value over time. And what I mean by that is, if you hold a piece of gold in your hand, you have no idea what it's going to be worth in dollars or euros or yen or renminbi or any other currency in 30 seconds, let alone 30 weeks, 30 years. But if you hold that gold, you generally know how many BTUs of energy that's gonna be equivalent to, or how many meals it's gonna feed you, and that's known over a few weeks, that's known over a few years, that's known over a few decades. Because the commodity correlations are what's very important, and so that's that's what we're promoting. But it's not anti-government; it's just a personal choice to hold something that stores value and have the math and physics of 6,000 years to back it up.
Yep, and it sounds like you guys are trying to scale it like PayPal, and I think you even just hired this week one of the former heads of PayPal Canada, right? So you guys are trying to make PayPal with using gold instead?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so if you again, coming back to what our the first problem that we tried to solve, the globally accessible gold. One of the key technology pieces of that was solving the settlement cycle, being able to settle a gold trade so that you can own fully titled, fully allocated gold, and own it in a very, very quick way using modern electronic payments. Once we solved that settlement cycle issue, we realized that it's more than just a savings product. Once there's that instant settlement, that can also be very useful in, say, cross-border finance, in cross-border commerce, in remittance markets, in money exchanges overseas. All of these things that can be very useful for, because we shorten the settlement cycle on physical gold from a few days or a few weeks into a few minutes, and so by doing that, we can now allow merchants to accept gold in everyday electronic commerce.
Very good. Well, I just want to thank you again for your time. Now, you have a 4th of July promotion I think you said you want to tell my listeners about for U.S. citizens?
Yeah. I mean, both Roy and I grew up in the U.S., and so, a lot of friends and family weren't able to access the service for a number of months, and we always found that pretty frustrating. But, as you mentioned, we did launch in the U.S., just over a week ago. And, for the 4th of July weekend, another big part of our platform is what we call Birthday Gold. And it's promoting, giving and gifting gold on birthdays, through, whether it's through social media, on a Facebook page, or just, peer-to-peer. But this whole concept of Birthday Gold is something that we, and sharing and being part of, community is a big thing for us. So, we decided that we're going to give every American that signs up some Independence Day birthday gold. So we're giving away 0.239 grams, about $9 worth of gold, for to celebrate the 239th birthday of the U.S. this weekend. And so that's not through a referral program, but just anyone that signs up in the U.S. will automatically be credited their U.S. birthday gold.
Very good. And you guys also have a good referral program, too. I know I've told some of my friends about, a good amount of my friends, actually, about BitGold, and I've sent them referral emails about it. I don't know if they've signed up yet, but they sounded very excited to hear how efficient it was to be able to store and pay in gold and save in gold.
Absolutely. And for us, that's, it's us, building a relationship with customers. And, as I mentioned before, it's a trust business. They've got to see it, they've got to experience it. There's no requirement. You just sign up. You don't have to deposit anything right away. You don't have to. We just want people to see the platform, see how easy it is to buy gold, to sell gold, to store gold, and eventually to use gold. So that's why we created this referral program, just to make sure everyone's rewarded for helping us spread the message and start building trust with the largest amount of customers we can.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited to see this grow further. You guys to democratize gold more and introduce more Americans back to gold. And I wish you guys the best of luck going forward. I think you guys are onto something very, very creative.
Great. No, thanks for your time, Jason. And again, really appreciate you following us and supporting us. And hopefully.